Rylan Griffen is in the transfer portal, the Alabama starter. Goodman Brown goes a step further and says he will transfer.
Yeah, it's not just the way Goodman reported it, not just that he is in the transfer portal, but he is transferring. He will leave the school. So, a lot of guys go in the transfer portal just to kind of see, it's a leverage play maybe with their current school, right?
Okay, I
didn't get what I wanted. I'll go hit the portal and let's see how you like that. Or it's let me see what I'm worth in the open market move, and I can always come back, right? And sometimes it's done in consultation with the head coach, like, hey, you go hit the portal and see what you're worth. If you think we're undervaluing you, I invite you to go hit the portal and see what you're worth. And you're always welcome back if you find out that we've given you the right price. But Goodman takes it a step further, saying he will transfer. So I would assume you are going to watch Alabama basketball without Rylan Griffen next year unless something drastically changes.
He was one of my, if not my favorite player in this team.
Why so?
I liked the way, I liked his range, his arm
wingspan.
Defensively. He could heat up just like that.
Well, he heated up in the NCAA tournament. That's some of his best play.
Played well defensively in the NCAA tournament, but he could heat up. I thought he was versatile. Really a nice kid. When you talk to him, really, really liked the guy a lot. For him to be in the portal, everyone instantly goes NIL now, right? That he could get more money.
That's the assumption,
right?
Well, and look, Alabama is in a situation where the NIL is building. If they really wanted Rylan to stay, I think they could have found a way for him to stay.
Yeah,
I think they believe he's a really good player, but what he was demanding or asking for exceeded what they thought his worth was.
I mean, a lot of people, David is doing this on Twitter. There's a lot in the chat room that throw out the Kansas name and say Kansas got all the NIL money in the world. If there's a player they want, they can go get them. And maybe we saw that this past season with Kansas. I mean, they did a big portal pickup in the offseason. Didn't really pay off for them.
Did not.
So, whether it's Kansas or not, I do think that's the world we live in college basketball, where if you're Alabama – you've got to, and Auburn too. I mean, Auburn is doing this same thing with their backcourt, by the way. If you're Alabama and Auburn, I've got to say, this is what I can spend. It is best spent here. Some of your other basketball powers are probably going to be able to say, I got as much as I want to spend. I'll take a flyer on this guy.
But you lose one, you gain one. People are talking about Chris Youngblood.
Yeah,
that's right.
And if you watch South Florida, they were one of the biggest surprises. They ended up not making the tournament, but it's a team that came out of absolutely nowhere and won 25 games, and Youngblood was their biggest producer this year.
So I was going to bring that up. So this is in that 2-3 position that Rylan Griffen plays. By the way, started 33 games for a Final Four team.
Yeah.
So 33 games for a Final Four team. But Chris Youngblood, if he does come to Alabama, slides into that slot. Houston Mallett runs a little point, could be a 2 as well. The Pepperdine kid who's coming in. If Latrell Wrightsell comes back, he sort of plays that position as well, equally as good a defender there. Sam Walters is sort of a wing player. You expect him to be back. Darion Reed is coming in. Naz Cunningham is coming in. Some of the big recruits that are coming in.
Again, and Grant Nelson can play 3 positions.
Yeah.
Up to 4 positions.
Yeah.
Youngblood, though, one of these guys, he'll probably play the 2. 6'4", 220 pounds. He's a Tuscaloosa kid.
I'll be honest, though. I'm not comfortable enough with the new world of college athletics where I don't panic, where I see a known commodity leaving and new blood or young blood coming in this situation to feel comfortable with it, because I am old and I am used to seeing a guy who was a starter the year before. I always expect him to be better next year. Yeah, in this day and age, you have to trust the coaches, Bruce Pearl sending all the guards out or all the guards leaving, that he's going to bring in better or equal talent. And you got to trust Nate Oates that either if Rylan's leaving, he's going to bring in same or greater talent, or maybe he was being shuffled out in there for somebody who's better. In this day and age, and especially in basketball, you just got to be comfortable with
you got to trust it. I mean, look, Kevin Keats, as bad as NC State was in the regular season, you start to look at it, top 7 producers were all transfers. Can you guys imagine in real life if marriage was a transfer portal?
No, I can't.
And you could just break that contract at any time.
At any point and go find another person in the neighborhood.
And there's nothing like the assets are totally out the window, so nobody gets anything. But boy, if you want to take off, you can take off.
But Jim,
I would tell you, I don't have the NIL money to compete in that world.
you got to be. I mean, I would think you would be comfortable with this. This is how Alabama made the Final Four. Is exactly what you're talking about. I mean, Aaron Estrada comes in, Latrell Wrightsell comes in, Grant Nelson comes in,
Mark Sears.
Mark Sears at least had been there a year already. But I mean, it was a fresh new roster.
As I said, this guy started 33 games, and he is the only Alabama product that was a starter.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I mean, how good you've got to be a great portal recruiter, which is so much easier than being a guy that goes out, gets high school talent, and develops it at the next level.
Here is Rylan Griffen. I believe this is in Spokane, talking to Little T when he said this up in the Spokane locker room after a win, probably over Grand Canyon, if I remember correctly. But this is on our air. Rylan Griffen talking to Taylor Korn after an Alabama win this postseason.
He the GOAT, in my opinion. So, he hasn't got a natty yet, but trust me, he'll get a natty eventually. He's the GOAT, seriously, in my opinion. That's a hot take. Everybody's going to think that's a hot take, but in my opinion, he's the GOAT, and he's going to continue to show he's the GOAT. There's a lot of great coaches out there, but in my opinion, he's just unique. Like, he finds a way to win every level he's been at, and for that, in my eyes, he's the GOAT.
Nate Oates is the GOAT, and he's leaving the GOAT.
Well, yeah, that's interesting because I think this will be a soundbite that probably follows him. And if Brown is right and he goes to Lawrence, I mean, Bill Self, I think, is the best active coach right now in basketball just based on resume. You ask Rylan, hey, you said that Nate Oates was the GOAT. What do you think about your new coach?
So you're playing for number 2?
Does have 2 natties, in your words.
So is there rumbling he could be Kansas bound?
No.
Okay.
I said that earlier. Okay. It's a guy on Twitter and some people in the chat room.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I said earlier when I was reading that.
It's got to be an ups. I mean, I say that. I mean, depending on money, you could do a lateral move. But if you're Rylan Griffen, why would you leave Alabama unless it's a better situation?